You probably spend more time talking about Trump's taxes than you do washing your own clothes, dude. You're pathetic, bro. Get a life. Go wash your clothes. Go to the gym. Read a book. I mean, do you really think talking in a forest when the tree lands and no one hears it, like, you made any difference in the forest of trees falling? No, bro. Listen, your character that you're playing here, what's the name of that character? Wesley Snipes. Oh, Wesley Snipes was a tax evader, and he went to prison because his dumbass thought he didn't have to pay money on the Blade movies. That's how stupid that dumb motherfucker was. He fucked around and found out, Othello, and the African American communities of America in all sanctuary cities, guess what they do on Taxpayer Appreciation Day? They line up because none of them are in compliance. They have something wrong in their fucking heads across the whole country. Oh, I don't know how to pay my taxes. I never heard of TurboTax yet. I never heard of fucking, all the other tax software corporations. I don't gotta pay my taxes. Why is that, Othello? That's my question for you. You ask a lot of questions. So I just want to know, this is my question. Why don't African Americans come into compliance and pay their taxes, Othello? Please answer that question. I am complete.
I pay my motherfucking taxes every year. Trash.
That's projection. Let me get the projection mirror out. The projection activation detection system has been activated. Number one, trash. Trash. Trash.
That's how and I'm telling you, I think that everyone pays taxes, including Black Americans, but Kitover is probably to
Americans could get on board with having a simplified tax code. And I think that there's a lot of Americans that just don't understand. I mean, it is pretty lengthy, and it's certainly beneficial to the taxes choosing winners and losers on the report and in society. Tax code has always been this way or else it's nothing new, but it literally is just flat, political platitudes saying they pay their fair share and the return cheating system. It's not. It's the same tax. I think ultimately it's the same tax code we all fall under. It's to its point. It's wonderful. So, Othello, would you agree that we can have a more simplified approach to taxes?
He doesn't answer questions. He can only ask questions. That's how the patient provocateur is. The truth is the tax code's fucked. That you got to go to work for 2 days a week just to pay the taxes. And my biggest complaint is that our government funds the Medicare, Medicaid industrial complex, the hospital and insurance and big pharma industrial complex. So why should I have to go to work to supplement that entire industry? Then we get back to objective ethics and Ayn Randiism about separation of state and economy, and we see that we have a completely artificial economy. We have doctors and lawyers and healthcare executives essentially parasiting off of our national deficit. And as a voter, as a politician, as an American, as a libertarian, someone who believes in separation of state and economy, which is a real economy, which is not an artificial government borrowed fiat currency economy, it's ethics, it's morals, it's laws, and unfortunately we have parasites and people who are just kicking the can down the road infinitely, eternally. And as a libertarian, as an American patriot, we all have to wake up and say, hey, morals and ethics starts with our dollars. And if you look at a dollar, it says, in God we trust. But we also know that what we're doing is madness. But we're getting away with it because the world runs on debt, and the whole world creates debt. And look, we just bailed out Japan for 10 billion. And the United States, I just read something this morning, it's just, Trump has taken interest in like 10 to 15 corporations. So we do live in this state-run economy that we can't, it's not that we can't seem to get out of it, it's that we never will get out of it, because that's what it is. We've created an artificial economy, and because we have the biggest military on the planet, we can defend our artificial economy against intrusion. But if there's a book, it's called The Practical Necessities to Demand Everything, the Right to be Greedy. It says, in the end, we weren't greedy enough. So if we're 40 trillion in funded debt and 100 trillion in unfunded debt, you total all the states and all the cities, it's over $200 trillion in debt. And we have to service that debt with interest payments. AI says that as interest payments continue to expand, core services will decline in all major cities. Now, I think core services already are total bullshit. Building a $75 million community center in a black neighborhood because of reparations, then people are doing drugs outside of it and nobody can even use the facility, let alone now you've created a whole nother fucking bureaucracy of security to run that facility, and then non-NGO programs and coordinators and counselors. It's all artificial. We have to learn how to run a pizza shop, how to run a business. If our government can't provide that simplistic formula of a profit, we are a banana republic. And honestly, I want to move to Norway and marry a 6-foot blonde with a $500,000 national surplus individually. So, good luck, suckers. Continue to let the Democrat pluralist, parasite, liars and thieves and scammers and retard faggots just bullshit you on this app and waste all your time. It's a total waste of your time to listen to faggot retards here. I am complete.
What's up, Richard?
it's been a look, I think, as Americans, on both sides of the aisle, we should be asking for a more simplified approach to paying taxes. Because the thing I hate about our society is that the more they make it more complex, it requires us to have to hire specialists to do the job, right? I have to hire a specialist to do my taxes when I should just be able to literally fill it out on a postcard. That was a talking point by the Republicans for years. They failed to deliver on one of their platitudes they sell Republican voters. And we're going to make it so simple to pay your taxes, you can pay it on a postcard or a 3x4 number. And it's always just, platitudes. Same thing that it's it's the same thing that means pay their fair share. We need to hold those rich accountable and pay their share. It's just platitudes. Let's not get caught up into it. We should, as the peasant class, as old when we are, certainly not part of the residents. We should be demanding less complex society where we don't have to hire specialists to do simple things.
Well, speaking of democratic socialism, tax cuts and things, how do you feel about the Republican movement to totally eliminate property tax?
It's a great idea. Great idea, fella. Great question, too. I knew you were going to ask a question.
I read a book on
Ultimate.
this.
Go ahead.
The main way to eliminate the complexity is to eliminate the income tax, period.
Hi, Liliana. Are you ready, sweetheart?
Kinda. I'm just putting the mascara on. But, yeah, sure, I'm ready.
Okay. It's raining cats and dogs out right now, by the way.
Yeah, so I'm going to go only indoor places, not outdoor places. By the way, could I talk about something?
Yeah. Huh?
A guy who never called me. A Build-A-Bear.
You want a Build-A-Bear, baby? I just got you a toy bear and a
I
toy.
don't care. I want a Build-A-Bear.
I don't know where a Build-A-Bear is. We could look.
Do you have one at the mall?
Well, I can Google it real quick for you. You want me to?
Forget it.
I want to fill you full of stuff in my love.
Ew, but you're just unromantic and cute.
All right, my love. Well,
Sometimes when you laugh.
are you ready? Shall I order the Uber now?
You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Oh, the rain on it? Damn.
It's raining out.
Better, not wait out there
Oh no,
on the fucking porch.
I'll bring an umbrella.
Oh, man.
I'll bring an umbrella. I'll walk you in.
Don't make horribly.
You packed an overnight bag, right?
No,
Why not?
because I'm not doing that.
All right.
Bye. Order it.
Wait, let me make sure I got. Let me see if your address pulls up.
Damn, it's raining over there.
Okay, actually, just text me your address one more time.
Okay.
Okay, bye.
Could afford paying for some of them, or how they do it. I'll give an example in New Orleans, which I think is pretty clever. And this is just a small microcosm example that maybe could be extrapolated out into other concepts. Is they have a ferry system there that it doesn't pay for itself, right? The cost to run in the ferries to cross the Mississippi River from downtown New Orleans over to Algiers Point, it gets compensated by the raising of funds from the streetcars, which it's only like $1.25 to ride the streetcar. But that actually pays enough for the streetcar usage plus pays for the ferry. So that's how government, in my perfect world, would work. certain services could be offset by other services that do have a, surplus. But we have beefs in our government ultimately, and that's why we have to have the different layers. And we should be requesting our government officials higher up to be policing the other government officials more, rather than making it this good old boy system. And I think that's the case for what ultimately drove Trump into office in his first term. Is it was a big middle finger to the establishment that feels like they're greater than us. And
That's what that fat pig who made that movie said. He's gonna be the biggest fuck you to the establishment of all time. But was he? Was he really?
he made them bend the knee. Ultimately, a lot of them started bending more too. And they have more influence than just voters, especially when you don't have to face another election. So I am always worried about like term limits on certain things. We do see presidents in their second term oftentimes do things that they wouldn't do if they had to be held accountable by the vote.
Oh, yeah.
So I think that's a case where we should not have term limits in the Senate and the House, as you would definitely see politicians burning out their last term before they limit it out. I think you see that with governors as well. They push the limit, kind of like what Newsom's doing in California. If he moves forward with this 5% wealth tax, literally they're just signing to go and steal money from people that have already paid taxes on that money. That in an accumulation of whatever their assets are, this billionaire tax that they're going to do. This isn't based on income. This is just based on my total accumulation of assets. If I'm a billionaire, then I have to hand over 5% of that to the state of California. I mean, this is just that. And if this is the spread of what the modern day Democrat Party is going to do, it will ultimately lead to significant pushback by the population, because they start with billionaires, then the next it will be millionaires, then before you know it, it'll be the peasant class down here, and they'll be coming after our money and our wealth too.
I have a question, Joe. What if it shows, it's a big if, and I know that Mamdani's only been in office, 6-7 months. What if it shows the policies like that actually reduce crime, reduce sexual assault, reduce rape, reduce homicide? What would you say then?
Well, I was just gonna say, once
Hold
they
on.
start rationing, why would...
Wallace, you asked me a question. Are you saying taxing billionaires reduces crime?
Yeah, like what if they really take that money, right, and put it into the communities, put it into the mental health of the communities? Trump already,
I think $20 billion is enough to eliminate evil in the human brain. You think so in society?
well, I'm gonna just combine a few things. Trump, he rolled back the regulations on the boga, right? So obviously there's this, there's an idea to target
My opinion is that more money that you actually get from the public, like I don't think they have a huge. I think the government's already getting enough money through taxes. It's just their choice of how they spend it. I'm sure Mamdani will try and make what his increase in tax rate. I don't know if all that stuff has gone through yet, but let's use what California's like what is stopping this now for taking what they've already spent multiple billion on homelessness, and it's only gotten worse.
before he joined in that those plans always lead rationing. Once we start rationing, then crime will definitely go up. And I was just curious how it's going to be done different than it has been done in history. It won't end up in rationing and all of us fighting over stuff. But history's already told us what's a pile of shit, so we don't really have to do these exercises to know what doesn't work. Oh, great. Oh, this is wonderful.
Yeah, something that's fascinating about politics is that there are no minorities. I just want to point that out. Like, there's nothing new in the last 150 years that hasn't already been thought of. The type of political policies that have, hasn't already been tried or thought of. What happens in politics in our lifetime right now is it's just rebranded ideas. It's like, it's going to work this time because I'm in office. And we will see if it's any different than how socialism has been tried for many years. It's just really this idea that elected officials have a better sense of how to organize society and themselves get political. Our freedoms to being governed by bureaucrats, policy the central planning. Oftentimes, unless it's very, minute stuff like central planning for
But Joe said,
should have an urban planning.
Joe, the way you're talking about central planning, that's like communistic central planning. The problem is our legal system and our legal industrial complex and the lawsuits that come from this type of oppressive taxation, let alone the appeals, it just creates another marketplace. I mean, everybody here who pays property taxes knows what the property tax appeal process is like and understands that in every city that is a multi-$100 million a year industry of appeal. So our taxation system has created a legal appeal industrial complex, and it's all this money going to support pensions at the present moment. So when a pluralist progressive Democrat mayor says we're going to spend another $200 million on restorative justice programs and DEI and CRT education programs, what they're doing is stealing from pension liabilities and the contributions that are not being made to the unfunded pensions. They're just taking that. They're also issuing tax credits on behalf of the cities in the tunes of billions of dollars. I've looked up property with what they call TIFs, incremental tax zones, and what they do is they just suspend taxation on a new development for many years. And sometimes when the right political moves come along, you can continue to get that TIF extended. So the whole thing is a grift between developers and investors, and Democrat mayors to give tax credits. The tax credit industry is a huge industry in this country. I have a friend who is extremely wealthy because of it, because he is a CPA and he does all the auditing for people that play this political development game of investment. So we really have to get back to the basics of how do you run a small business. You run it at a simple profit. We have created a communistic state. In its truest sense, we've become the Soviet Union. We do not have separation of state and economy at all, and we're spending $7 trillion plus a year, or even more, and we're only taking in $5 trillion, and that $5 trillion, a lot of it is on the backs of your average income earner. If I make 80,000, if I make 100,000 a month, I'm really only taking home 1,000 a week. So We're getting taxed, we're getting smashed, and the property taxes are going to clean out the retirees. People have already seen property taxes go from 7,000 to 21,000 a year. I saw a black woman with her family. They bought a house for like 125,000. They didn't count on the property taxes being 10,000. They can't afford it, and then they're going to lose the house and then owe money on the debt and get sued and garnished. So we live in a very pernicious, circular, parasitic debt garnishment society. If you can't keep up with the bills, the lawyers will get you. It's the best investment in your lifetime is to become a lawyer because you can take down doctors. You know, Edward here, he has had, or other people here has had stents put in their hearts. If you got stents in your heart, you can talk to a personal injury attorney right now and sue that fucking doctor who put those stents in your heart and get a couple $100,000 out of his fucking fat ass. And he built Medicare and Medicaid for 2.4 million last year. So the point is the whole system's upside down. We glorify the doctors, we glorify the lawyers, and everybody just kicks up to them. I am complete.
So, I don't have anything regarding the last statement, but what ultimately happens, the shell game that politicians run is they'll come in with these altruistic policies, like what's being sold in California and Mamdani, right now in New York City, and then as they go through the different policies, they still enrich the people that help them get there or empower the people that help them get there. That's oftentimes, I'm talking about local governments all across America. It's probably much more than even Washington, D.C. Then when the policies fail, you see this, and if we're here, I don't know if the app will last to the end of Mamdani's time, or if he has 2 terms in Congress, but it's likely that when it all comes out and a lot of the policies fail, she's going to have some successes. So I want that. But when they fail, then we go on to blame the white man or the rich man or the Republican. And this then creates this cycle where it's like, okay, well, it only failed because of insert right here. That's why I. But this next time we're going to.
Your call has been forwarded to voicemail. The person you're trying to reach is not available. At the tone, please record your message. When you have finished recording, you may hang up.
Hey Maya, it's John. Hope you're having a lovely afternoon. Sometimes my text messages don't go through for some reason because I'm on a Google Android. But anyways, call me back or text me, and look forward to talking to you soon. Bye.
Just Jesus Christ, man. Like 9, 10 conviction or 9, 10. When are you gonna learn that this guy needs to be locked up? I don't care where you put him. Jail, prison, or a mental institution. Get this guy off the streets.
Well, and the district attorneys have just as bad a record as the judges. The district attorneys are almost easier to get rid of. They can be voted out. The judges, they get impeached, and then you go through the political lawfare back and forth, how political it looks when you fire judges. But there's hundreds and maybe thousands of judges that should be fired. The district attorneys, we all have a direct vote on. And you guys, or everyone here should pay attention to the district attorneys because they have a
I just think the biggest problem is that we don't have capital execution for a lot of these villains and criminals and mass murderers and demon parasites that we have locked up that we're spending 120,000 plus a year on with, either private or public, federal or private, run prisons. And until we actually start lining people up by the thousands, we're never going to balance our books. And we are going to have a financial and economic crisis in this country that is going to fuck the baby boomers. They think they're comfortably retired to a certain extent, but they are not, because of the runaway spending and the runaway taxation. And if liberal, progressive Democrats, socialist, communists get into office, they will call theft investment. That's what Brandon Johnson in Chicago does every day. We're investing. We're investing. Bitch, you just stole fucking another 30 million from the pension funds. You fucking lying thief. And he can only get away with so much because the city council says no to him. Because our system really is fantastic. It's so huge, and because we have this voting system, we have all these checks and balances. So the dreams of the socialists, in many ways, will be smashed and destroyed by the power of the lawyer and the judge to say nope. You all see it with Donald Trump and his administration. Federal judges nonstop, the Supreme Court nonstop. Now. And he does what he can do. And he is not a fascist, as Marshall Rankin likes to say. He's not a dumbass, as Marshall Rankin likes to say. Do you know how many years they've called Donald Trump mentally ill, deranged? Pritzker says he has dementia. And when I hear Trump, I heard him speak, and Patty and Politically Correct on this app, she plays Trump speaking to Meet the Press. He sounds like a fucking genius. He's not skipping a beat. The guy doesn't sound like Joe Biden, dementia, 90-year-old, know nothing. Trump is fucking savvy. This motherfucker's slick. And I thank God he's our president. If Kamala had won, I swear to God, I would have made preparations to leave the country. I would have abandoned this country. I would have gone to Norway, found my 6-foot Amazon beauty, and I would have settled down with a chick who's got $1 million in the motherfucking bank instead of hanging out with these liberal, progressive, fat, lesbian cat women of America who are so fucking petty, obnoxious, low IQ cell phone addicts. Fuck them all. Sugar babies. Puh, death to the sugar baby. So what I'm trying to say is, ladies and gentlemen, take action now. Invest in yourself. Go back to the gym before it's too late. Open up the Constitution, the Declaration. Read the writings of Thomas Jefferson, George Washington, Abraham Lincoln. Live your best life. But stop spewing your stupid fucking political positions here. You're wasting your own fucking breath. So take the deepest breath of the day. Hold it for 10 seconds. Pray the gay away. Pray the liberal progressive away. Hold it for 10. Let it go and say, I am not a liberal progressive faggot retard. I am a strong patriot, joyful American fighting for fighting for the republic. You see how that works, faggot retards? We live in a republic, and there's a reason why there will never be reparations. Because we don't live in a communist, socialistic, Democrat state. We live in a motherfucking republic. If you don't like that, well then too bad you can't stop a republic. That's what a republic is. You can't stop it. You can't stand in the way of this juggernaut known as America. It will never stop. And the greatest thing about being an American is that when I meet other people, I know that they are from different countries. That's what being an American is. Oh, you're Serbian? Oh, you're Croatian? Oh, you're a Schwartz? A low IQ fucking Schwartz? Who calls Jewish people cattle goyim? Your stupid anti-Semitism is really just a lack of your own cultural awareness. That's where it stems from. It's all projection. That's what's wrong with Jew haters and anti-Semites. They just project. Hello?
Yeah, so look, Othello, I don't get this opportunity very much. I think part of why we talk on Clubhouse is to, a couple weeks later, a few weeks
Death
later,
to the sugar baby.
on things we talked about. It was 2 weeks ago in the President Trump room. Me and you discussed the rise of the DSA and the Democrat Party. This was prior to El Said winning his primary. Now you see, even in mainstream media, they're saying this is the crossroads of the DSA. If El Said is able, here he beat an establishment figure by just a few percentage points, and if he's able to go on and win the Senate, this will be a huge boon for the DSA. Now, on this stage, just 2 weeks ago, you shouted me down about this, saying the DSA was largely insignificant and wasn't making that much of a move. But clearly, clearly the Democrat Party, I saw the DNC even declare war on the DSA. And it's going to marginalize the quote-unquote moderate Democrat vote. And what are your thoughts now after El Said's victory? And you still, downplay the influence of the DSA in the Democrat Party?
If you look into it, not going to agree wholeheartedly with the same things that were in that chart. Like you still get Bernie Sanders, still vote socialist. He still, he even said it, like he doesn't want to work with the Senate. He doesn't want to replace the president. He doesn't want to understand the Constitution. So, that charter is for specific organizations that do not, they're not the umbrella of all socialists. So,
Oh, top of the 2 mil, I'm also gonna need some cocaine. Cocaine?
I asked you specifically about DSA's influence in the Democrat Party, and you did make the first response about what Bernie Sanders is going around saying right now. Now you're going into talking about the influence of Benjamin Netanyahu in AIPAC. You brought up AIPAC, is that they're at the center of the DSA? Are they?
They're at the center of what the DSA is against. And when we look at it, it's what Americans are against. I think, like I said, 49% of Americans want Netanyahu arrested. AIPAC is
yeah, that's not what the DSA is standing for.
losing American support. The AIPAC is directly not funding these Democrats.
No, so hold on. Let's talk about the platform. Because that's kind of, I guess you're saying that arresting Benjamin Netanyahu is part of the platform. Because Mamdani has said he wants to arrest Netanyahu. So you're just kind of commenting about one aspect of the platform. So I want to address what you said about Bernie Sanders. Okay, Bernie Sanders is now coming out and saying no reasonable-minded person actually wants to get rid of the Senate or defund the police, right? Defund, that's his big talking point right now. But when can we believe them? So, like, are they a trustworthy group of politicians or not? It does appear like they, like many politicians, are more radical in their primary, and then they start to venture back towards the center when they go towards the general election to dupe the voters into saying, very much like Abigail Spanberger did in Virginia. She said she was this moderate, then she gets right in and she pulls the rug out from underneath Virginians, and they're like, oh my gosh, this is a radical. So here you have like Al Said, he has very radical comments early on in his political commentary, or in his political career, and then all of a sudden, now he's like, well, you know, I'm no longer a DSA card carrying member. But when do we believe them? When they get power and they get into office, are they just going to go back to their radical ways? When they have enough influence, when they have enough DSA members in Congress, will they then be able to try and abandon the concept of the Senate? I don't think they'll essentially get rid of it. What they'll do is they'll make it a proportional based upon very much how the House is done. You know, will they then defund the police or defund the military when they have enough power and enough voting members to actually do it? It's kind of like they're hiding their true intentions until they have, you know, taken over the Democrat Party and taken over our government, right? That'd be more realistic, because these are probably their real beliefs, what their platforms are.
Weren't these politics made illegal in the mid-50s? These type of politics were made illegal, and maybe it was appealed, and now it's not illegal anymore. Joe, what's the history on that? These politics?
There's a law that about the Communist Party. I don't know about the specifics of policies in regards to it, but there is a 1954 law, I believe, regarding communism. Yeah, I mean, it is communist.
It comes to tactics, though. I don't want to describe, because it is communist.
Well, look it up and read it to us. Tell us, get Grok to summarize the 1954 communist law. I'm driving right now. I'm about to have to get out of the room here in a minute.
Go ahead, Phil.
Okay, sorry, man. Clubhouse has this new thing where you can't even check. You can't even do your due diligence and fact check a website, or you'll get thrown out of the room.
Yeah, you need 2 devices.
I wanted to comment on what
We can still do it in Android, so it must be an Apple thing.
Well, sorry, I didn't even hear the question because I got thrown out of the room while I was looking up my Donnie's cut to the police force. It was like a $22 million cut to the police force where he implemented targeted cuts in preliminary spending plans. He scrapped plans for phased hiring of 5,000 new recruits to the police force. And he rolled back the anticipated increase in uniform headcount during budget negotiations with the city council. At the same time, like I said, I got to go back to the historic low in homicides. You know what I mean? So
the historic low in homicides is propaganda and a lie. A straight up propaganda and a lie, and you keep referring to propaganda and lies. We all know that's not true, my friend. It's a fucking lie that Democrat mayors have put out nationally. Crime is not down. Homelessness, mental illness is huge. There's huge crime numbers over the past 6 years. So stop with your fucking propaganda and your fucking lies, you fucking liar. You're a low IQ piece of trash spreading lies. Stop with your fucking lies, you fucking liar. You hear me loud and clear. It's spelled Liar. You're a fucking liar citing lies. Stop spreading your fucking lies, you fucking liar. I am complete.
does anybody else have children around? Anything to work? You know,
You're wasting your time educating your children with lies on a conference call, you fucking loser piece of trash liar.
we don't want to talk.
I send my son to John all the time.
That's when we're talking about the DSA, the popularity, you brought up Israel, and I think the real scary part that I'm seeing with the DSA movement is essentially it's not just communism. I think it's the focus on central planning, which both appeals to the communists and the Islamists, and simultaneously, it may be, I'm not sure about your views, but maybe you do lean more towards like central planning to solve problems, but you're in inadvertently, and maybe members of the DSA now, I'm against central planning, but they're also embracing, knowingly or unknowingly, the central planning of Islamists, which isn't communism, right? A whole separate system. But you both agree with certain tactics,
Yeah, they're
measures of control. And I think you've even embraced, maybe unwittingly, this anti-Netanyahu, anti-Israel talking points. They're fighting against their communism, which is Islamism, right? And the Islamists stand, I would imagine, for everything that you're against. But yet, you would probably vote for Imam Ghani or Al Said. And these people, they believe gnarly, dangerous stuff that makes Zionism look like, libertarianism at the end of the day. Really. So I think you need to be careful and really examine who it is you support and what you think they're really trying to achieve.
I hear you, brother. And we're having this conversation. Know that anything that I've said is facts as far as you can even go to Fox News and they're already reporting how Americans trust in APAC is down like 19%, and with certain studies 20%. So I'm more so talking about the state of America instead of what I believe. You know what I mean? Because I'm actually a supporter of getting the illegals out of here, so we can get our jobs back. And we can get our cities safer. I'm actually reporting to the state of America when you look at the data. It's trust in APAC, and 49% of Americans want Netanyahu arrested. That's data.
No, I agree with you that's data that you reflect, but what state does that tell you that the same people that are losing trust in APAC and want Netanyahu arrested are championing and putting on their shoulders clear Islamists? It's wacky, and I don't think we should trust necessarily. Yeah, we acknowledge public opinion, but that doesn't make it rational or right. And I think we need voices, even if they're espousing views that we might believe in. We still need loud voices to stand against other ideas that they have. Just like with Trump, it's like you cannot like some things about Trump, but you can also love other things about Trump. You got to be the same. You call Mamdani and these Islamists out. If you are, let's say, a democratic socialist, you can't at the same time champion Islam. I mean, it doesn't make sense. So public opinion is important to understand, but I just want louder voices speaking out against values that are antithetical to the West.
Yeah, and I was talking about it in a sense to where the state of things. I think what you saw in Gaza, what you see with the Iranian war, right? And then when you had J.D. Vance, who a month ago goes on Joe Rogan's show and says that Israel is conducting propaganda campaigns to extend the war, and thus undercutting, throwing him under the bus and where he's trying to do his job, right? So that he can actually work out the peace talks. And he can't. And he says that Israel is doing propaganda campaigns on American people. That's our vice president. That's a Republican. That's a conservative. That's a right winger. And so, like Fox said,
Prove him wrong. Prove you wrong.
Hey, he said it. I'm not here to prove him wrong or anything.
Yeah, he's wrong.
I'm more so talking about the fact that he said it, right? And that does not do good for the trust of Americans. And just like Fox News says, when they went through the polls about American trust in Israel, right? This is not just a letter-right issue, Democrat, but this is a national issue where it's affecting Republicans and Democrats. And what I'm saying is that it's influencing the rise of the democratic socialist movement to now where the public doesn't trust APAC, right? And we just saw how that lady ran against El Said, right, and lost with a $60 million surplus and $60 million boost. You know, you can see the way things are going. And so that's why I brought up Netanyahu, Israel, and things like that. It's just like it's all happening at the same time. And so when J.D. Vance goes on there and says that, that does nothing to, that's, you know, that scares the people. Like, what? You know for sure our vice president says that Israel is running propaganda campaigns to keep this Iranian war going. Wow, like we need to look deeper into that. So that does nothing for pro-Israeli candidates in the future.
Yeah, that's true. Well, that's true. That's true. But you know that that's a game of diplomacy. Like Saudi, at the one hand, deals with Israel, but yet publicly they have to talk negatively about Israel as to other, you know, Islamist type countries that are moving to the center. It's all a game at the end of the day. So yeah, Vance, I love Vance. I mean, yeah, you can focus on one comment he made, but then you also have to take that in the context of all the other comments he's made as well. But I think it is a dangerous momentum happening in our country of people embracing communism, embracing Islamism, because they're embracing communism or so-called communism. And at the end of the day, I think, let's say J.D. Vance was correct in what he said. Israel is pushing the war. Well, maybe that's because they know that you can't have peace with Islamists. If you do have a peace, it's a short peace, which will come back to bite you even worse than any war we would have today. And Israel, I think, with their history shows, by example, that you can't appease or have peace with Islamists because when they withdrew out of Gaza and all the Jews left and everything, I mean, it doesn't end the war. It doesn't end the so-called freedom fight against the state of Israel. So I think there's lessons to be learned, and a lot of lessons are hard lessons at the end of the day. And the West needs to grow its backbone again and realize that sometimes war and violence is necessary, and sometimes complete victory is necessary, and typically you only achieve complete victory with absolute devastation and unfortunately a lot of death of the loser's side to achieve such victory. But we don't have that backbone or the will to kill 1 million people, with one bomb, like they just celebrated or remembered the dropping of Hiroshima and Nagasaki just recently. I think it was just this past month. Sometimes those, unfortunately.
Gee, you say we don't have the will, but we had the will to mass vaccinate 80% of our population with an experimental mRNA gene-modifying spike protein creator. We had the will to do that, didn't we? To do a mass carcinogenic event on ourselves and on the whole Western world, to depopulate ourselves, to sterilize ourselves. And Rand Paul can't even arrest Fauci in a fucking senatorial. If Rand Paul was a man, he would have the sergeant at arms and private security and make a citizen's arrest of Dr. Fauci and march that little fucking Italian Goomba faggot straight to Todd Blanche's office where he can put that little Goomba faggot vaccinator in prison. Until we get real justice in this country, all is lost. It will be tyranny and treason and terror until we arrest Dr. Fauci. He is a fucking mendacious, evil, maniacal, manipulative, fucking lying rat. Him and Bill Gates need to be publicly executed. I am complete.
I can't believe we've given Fauci the kind of clear space that this room or any other room on Clubhouse or on the internet gives Fauci. We need to move past him. He's a problem. He was a problem. We need to look at our own issues and maintain peace with Rubio, yeah, I said it, and Vance as a joint ticket, and I keep saying that, and no one gets it.
We Wait, what was it? It was Vance and who on the joint ticket?
Rubio.
Oh, I like it. I like it a lot.
It's coming to a town near you soon. Pay attention.
But I feel like there aren't many vaginas on that ticket.
We do not care. We want to win as a country. We don't care. We don't care. I know you are. We don't care if it's a male or a female. And honestly, I don't think America is ready for a female leader.
Actually, it's funny that we're talking about this. This was my next subject in the new room I'm starting. So I might as well just, because this is Beaver's room, I want to keep it consistent. I'll take over and do a new room under me. So I'm going to knock this out, and then I'm going to reopen it, and we're going to talk about it.
Wait, Matt, cool. I just want to say one thing. When Joe B says that we want to win as a nation, that's true. We do want to win as a nation. But guess what wins at the national level? Intelligence. And unfortunately, the Kamala Harrisites of this country are not the intelligent group that we need leading this nation. We need real men with real strength, real values, real ethic, real morality. And that starts at our currency. If we accuse China of being currency manipulators, and it's all relative, well, fine. But we have to be self-reflecting and go within to find the truth. The truth of the earth begins at your birth, and it does end at your death. But if you waste all your time here on Clown House, you will have nothing left. And that's the problem with Othello. That's why he's struggling to pay his bills. He's got kids in the other room. And when I call him a faggot, retard, liar, spreading misinformation about crime statistics being at 60-year lows, he's a fucking politician. He's doing little mini baby politics, and that's all it is. It's just a tree falling in a wood. There's no truth. It's just lies. Hello?
I don't know a single woman leader in my lifetime or today's economy that wants to be second. We do not care. We want to win. Who's playing with their helicopter?
And he's mowing the lawn.
So thank you all for coming to the President Trump house and engaging in this thought-provoking debate with faggot retards who don't understand economics, can't explain inflation, don't want law enforcement, want us to spend billions of dollars, take it from the rich, spend it on the mentally ill who keep slugging women in the streets. That's the type of faggot retard you're dealing with. Recidivism. Violent criminal offenders attacking white women in the street, screaming Trump, and you got Othello here, just another Othello, telling you, don't you think if we took from Elon Musk, because he's building the biggest building in the world, if we took at least $2 billion more from him in Texas this year, we could use that money if we really used it, if it really went to the people who need the restorative justice, if it really went to them. See, Othello doesn't understand that the middleman captures all the money. That's why the homeless crisis in California has only exacerbated, because the middleman faggot retard, just like your insurance broker, has captured us. We let the middleman take what he's not even entitled to. It's against the law, and they break it every day. That's why we need real lawmen, real patriot Americans, strong, liberal Americans. And when I say liberal, I mean libertarian, not progressive Democrat, communist, socialist thieves who misaccurately use words to describe theft. It's investment. Motherfucker, it's not investment. It's fucking theft.
California, New York do not run our country. Us idiots are sitting on the sideline acting as if they do. We need to say, screw them or erase them or whatever the case may be and proceed on. And we have to agree on what proceeding forward needs to look like in order to win.
And John, just know that when I fight for mental health, I'm fighting for people like you. I actually need this.
Let me get that projection mirror out for you, faggot retard. And when Joe B says that we want to win, strength will always win. Joy will always win. Happiness is really the goal.
And so, faggot retards like you who think you're fighting for mentally ill people like me, what you're really trying to do is fight for your own life. But you're not, Othello, because you're a faggot retard. And here you are spreading lies because you're a piece of garbage. So next time you project onto me, just remember, whatever you say to me bounces off me and sticks to you. That's what's up. Starting new room shortly in the President Trump house. Yeah, you gonna keep calling me the N-word, Himothy? Green bean. Green bean N-word up in here. Green bean N-word.
Room that identifies winning and agree on what that looks like. I don't think 5 people in this room agree on anything.
I think we can agree that nigga Book needs help. Respectfully, man.
You respectfully, nigga. If you're gonna say nigga, I'll say nigga. So nigga, it's all projection, nigga.
People, come on now.
It's all
This is so
projection,
stupid.
nigga.
I can't even stay here.
Alright, I'm closing. I'm reopening under me. See you in a few.
Thank you, sir.
Yep, see you then.
It's all projection, nigga.
Yes, but the question, I mean, the reaction or the response I have is not necessarily should that person have, but is there out there as you say, a process, a program, a strategy for doing that?
Of course not.
That's the question. And I don't, in my ignorance, I would say, especially when they abolish the prison, or what's that other one about the thing about the police. I think
Heard from my little circle, people, who have done studies and come up with approaches. And you say, of course not. Maybe I was in something, ooey stuff, but I believe that there are, whether they are academics, whether they're activists, who have thought about it and provided, and when it came up, they presented that. Now, did it come to fruition? No. But when you say no, nobody's thought about it. Nobody's come up with a process or, solution. Whether you agree with it or not, that just seems far-fetched. But
So who has come up with the proposition of how we would abolish the police and deal with like serial killers?
I'm a part of the American Navy, but I know I've heard.
Wait, I have a question. After they're abolished, are you saying we would leave the prisons abolished, or we would create some type of new institution to address the pedos and
They would invent prisons from first principles. That's what they would do.
Excuse me, Adam, I wasn't asking you.
Who are you asking?
I'm asking Richard. He's the one who gave these suggestions. I think that's a good question. I think that's reasonable.
I think it is. I'm waiting for the answer. I just maybe
The point was raised that nobody thought about it, and I was only responding that I have heard.
He asked the question, and then he said no.
Right, but didn't you say that you're a prison abolitionist? So if you're a prison abolitionist, what are we gonna do after?
No, I did not say that.
No, he didn't say that, Pearl, to be fair.
Okay, so he's not a prison abolitionist.
I mean, it was brought up as an example, and I expanded on it as that example to ask these questions. If you want to abolish prisons, then what? And the questions you should ask before you even think or consider that whole idea, so you can come up with some kind of plan or some kind of theory as to how to do it. That's what, that's how that was my end.
Well, First Lady, the honest thing.
Oh God, not today. Not today. We're not doing this. We're not doing you today. We're not.
Is unable to be understood because the ancestors haven't might
Thing that they just came up with. They ain't got no plan. There's no plan. That's why you don't know it.
There is a
If
plan.
they did, you would know.
I've thought about
Why don't you allow
I've thought
it
about
to
this extensively. Okay, I'm a new voice too, motherfucker. Mute up.
Okay, what now? Why you gotta get all 5,000?
That was very mellow. I would say that was only like a 4. Like, can we be for real?
No, I'm just saying like that's 1,000 from me. So can we be for real? So yeah, it's fine. What I want to do is I want to continue hearing your thought because you were actually in the middle of a thought. I do want to hear from you, and then we'll get a new voice in, Schroeder. Just 1 second. Hold still. Go ahead, Oscar.
Thank you.
So, all I was saying is that, like, I have thought about this because at one point I fancied myself a prison abolitionist, but the concept that we're trying to abolish, I think, is distinct from the concept of prisons overall. Like, what we're talking about is abolishing the way that the prisons manifest in the United States today. I don't think it's practical to say that all prisons would be abolished, but also the way that the prisons function right now isn't productive, so that could be abolished. I do think the police could be abolished because they don't do shit. So if you want to have like some type of executive protection agency or something, like if people do that shit, and then we have a separate investigative arm and a separate crime scene investigation, that'd be one thing. But I think that when we conflate people who are actually investigating crimes with whatever the fuck the police are doing terrorizing black people, they're not the same thing.
Oh man, I didn't know it was off me. Okay. So you said you would get rid of the police because they're not doing anything. So when you call 911, the people we're releasing from prison, are they the ones that are supposed to come and answer?
Wait, I never said we're releasing anyone from prison.
I'm just saying. But
Y'all
no.
just inventing cops from first principles.
Exactly. Hello? But no.
But that's exactly what it is. They want a restart button. But saying a restart isn't. But I think that
Wait, 1 second, Curly, because I wasn't finished my thought. 1 second. I was making a joke, but my thought really goes to what I heard the young lady speaking about. And she was more focused on saying prison abolition. Now, what you suggested is reform. She was asked about reform when it came down to immigration. She said, no, we need to get rid of the border. I'm like, what are you doing? It's too much.
That's correct. They don't say what they say the crazy thing. And then when people say, oh, do you mean this crazy thing? When you say the crazy thing, they say, no, I don't mean the crazy thing. So why say the crazy thing if you don't mean the crazy thing? It doesn't make any sense.
Well,
right? If you don't mean no borders, then don't say no borders. If you mean no borders, it's totally reasonable for people to think that you mean, if you say no borders, it's reasonable for people to think you mean no borders.
So First
right?
Lady,
that's where they're going to stop.
Will you allow a new voice? Because it's been the same voices for a while.
I thought we were just giving these examples of what people will say this thing, but they haven't expanded upon the thing that they said. So we're just using these as an example. We do not need to have long dissertations about prison abolition, because I don't think anybody on the stage wanted to go that far. I could be wrong.
Well, actually,
Mr. I think that's a really interesting point because, like, I think that when we think of abolition, part of the problem is they don't understand what real abolition means because the way slavery was abolished was not true abolition. So that creates like a lot of, because what? We reformed the system. legislatively. We did not abolish it. So I think that creates confusion when people think about what is prison abolition and what it actually looks like, and they don't interrogate it any further.
Right. And if you don't interrogate it, then you're not going to ask better questions. Because you're not.
I'm going to ask the pertinent cross-examination question for sure. Oh, my. Portion of my bio, I 50 years as a chaplain, as a prison chaplain, dealing with mastermind criminals and them kind of people. I had rejects all my life, and they are kind of reformed. What they did in D.C., they allowed a felony to get a decent job at some point during the system. So a guy could come in D.C. corrections and get a job. See, by doing this, he would finish a GED program. And, and they complete the GED program, they could move on. Then he prepared himself for this program and could actually get a BA behind the walls of penitentiary. Now, what they would do, many of them would get a vocational trades in between, and then in 2, 3, 5 years, this prisoner owned a business. Young boys in the hood with no high school diploma owned electric business. They took electric trade, all kinds of plumbing, and how to lay a brick. See, he could lay a brick, or do, he could get barber and get cosmetology, training life. You had trades, and the Congress looked at Congress from all over the country, looked at our young men, all polished and ready. See, I'm getting me a degree in this. I'm going over here. I'm going on vacation. Every mouth, late 60s, 70s, then mid 80s, every mouth had, I'm getting ready to go build something. I'm getting ready to go get this. I'm getting married, having kids. I'm already an electrician. We had something in our mouth. I'm getting ready to go get a 4-year degree out of Texas Southern University somewhere, North Carolina State, American AMU. All them black guys were going. They did.
I want if you are walking lost in wonder, empty of self and might.
Give me the sign of the open night, a riddle of shadows where whispers lie, the thorny thigh, the maddening cry. Open, open, open. I am awake, the serpent shakes.
where the mind is tight, truth hides deep, where the echoes collide. The air is heavy, the water's unclear. No compass, no guide, just a sea of fear. Chains of thought, they hold us down. In the murk we spin around. What's the gain, what's the cost? And all this judgment, we're just lost. Oh, lines are drawn in the sand so thin. We chase the ends, but they fall back in. The way we carry it bends the spine. But who's to say what's yours or mine? What's the point of walls we build? Do they protect